Hey guys, Super Rugby Pacific 2026 round 1 has wrapped up. The last game of the round is just finished. That means the fantasy points are in. They are not locked yet, so what you're seeing here, it might change over the next couple of days, but probably not by a huge amount. In this video, I'm not only going to go over my team, I'm going to be looking at how the other picks I talked about in my best picks video fared, and just having a look more broadly at which players were the big movers and shakers, if there are any surprises, if there's anything we can learn from this week to take forward into future rounds. Before we get into that though, let's have a quick look at the fixtures. Remember, one of the big keys to fantasy is understanding which fixtures each week are going to have all the tries scored in them. That translates into fantasy points as well. Because it's round 1, we don't have a lot of information. It's hard to have a read on this. The only two matchups I was confident going into this week was that Drua versus Pacifica would be an open game, a bit of a points fiesta. It did deliver on that front, although I did not expect the Drua to be on the losing end of it. I think they won in Lautoka like 9 times in a row or something. Same with the Blues versus the Chiefs as well. I expected this one to be an arm wrestle. This was true through all of last year as well. Just the way the Blues play, that forwards dominated style. They have a good defense as well. They do not have a good offense, and yeah, it just seems to turn every matchup into an arm wrestle with them. Not a lot of tries and points get scored here. Although one thing to take forward from this week, even though not a lot of tries get scored in the Blues matchup, forwards can still do pretty well in fantasy in this matchup, and we'll have a look at that a bit later as well. As far as the other matchups go, Highlanders versus Crusaders. The Crusaders often are a bit soft at the start of the season. I thought this would either be a close game or potentially the Crusaders run over them. Unfortunately for me, that did not happen. I invested quite heavily in Crusaders for round 1. I had Severies as my captain. I was very bullish on Whainganuku. He didn't do much. Reihana was a bust. Noah Hotham was the one bright spot with 58 points. Got that awesome run down the short side with a ruck that was missing a pillar. And I keep saying this about halfbacks. The best halfbacks, they are the ones that like to go for a bit of a snipe. They get the line breaks, they get the tries and the try assists. That's what we're looking for. Although Cam Roigard will be back in the near future, and he's so good at that, he will probably be taking over that spot. But keep that in mind for when Cam Roigard is not around or when you can't afford him. The other matchups, Waratahs versus the Queensland Reds. I really had no idea what to expect from this game at all, and that kind of steered me away from picking a lot of players in it. As it turned out, it was a bit of a sloppy shit show. That's kind of what we like in fantasy. Like these sort of sloppy games, they can be quite open. You know, all the turnovers create opportunities, and for the first half, this game was quite funny. It was pretty end to end. Even though not a lot of points got scored in the first half, it was still pretty good for fantasy because of all the line breaks and busts that were going on. In the end though, yeah, the Waratahs, they took over. Like the Reds, they just conceded way too many penalties, and yeah, the Waratahs took that ball and eventually they broke them and ran over them, and we saw Jorgensen go absolutely crazy in this game. You can see him, he was the second highest top point scorer for the whole round on 73, got 2 tries, and if you watch that game, like he was just doing crazy stuff. And look, we always knew this about Jorgensen, we always knew he was good, but yeah, he's showing he's still got all of that form, and he's definitely a guy you got to keep on your radar when making your picks in future rounds. The only thing that gives me pause though is that both these teams, the Reds and the Waratahs, they look pretty poor this game. So how well is Jorgensen gonna go when the Waratahs come up against sterner opposition like the New Zealand teams? You do have to be a bit careful about that one. Other match that we just had as well was the Force versus the Brumbies. ended up being a bit of a bonanza. Didn't look like that for the first half. The Brumbies, they were quite poor. The Western Force were putting them under a lot of pressure, but as is usually the problem with the Force, they're just not that threatening. So even when they get a lot of ball, they're not able to convert it into a lot of points. And whatever happened at halftime, the Brumbies, I mean, they came out a bit more organized, and they're really able to put some points on the board. They got down on the Force's line, and they were really able to bully them with the forwards and get over the line a few times. After that, the Force sort of crumbled, and they were chasing the game, and the Brumbies were able to run all over them. And that's the sort of situation we like in fantasy as well. When we've backed the team, we've invested in its players, and we see them kind of crack the opposition and start running in points. Corey Toole, he pretty much had nothing going for him all game. Ended up on 46 though, just because, after the Force crumbled late, he was able to cash in and get a try. Lagonamasi got 39 points. I was pretty bullish on Lagonamasi, really liked him a lot last year. 39 points is actually pretty good for a guy who didn't score a try, even though we won a few more points out of an outside back usually. But he had a lot of good touches on that game, so I'm still pretty bullish on Lagonamasi in general. But you don't get much more of an opportunity. You don't get a better matchup than playing Pacifica at home in Fiji, probably. So a little bit concerning to see the shape that the Endura are in at the moment. In the midfield, like I said, Whanganuku didn't fire, neither did Joseph Suali'i, and I was a little bit cagey on this one. We all know what Suali'i can do, but last year he spent a lot of time playing at fullback. This game he was named at centre in the midfield, and even though the Waratahs were kind of carving up for a while there against the Red, Suali'i, he didn't really get a good piece of the action. And that just kind of goes to show, like, being in the midfield, it really can cramp a guy's style like that. So probably if they keep playing him there, going forward, his value for me has definitely gone down a bit. I mean, looking at the rest of the midfield though, Tavatawa Nawai, he got his 35 points. This is sort of what we saw out of him last year. He was very consistent, always in that 40-point range. Pretty good for a midfielder. I think his value's kind of gone up now, and Suali'i has gone down just because Tavatawa Nawai is going to be consistent. Quintu Paia actually did pretty well considering how tough things were in that Blues game. Got a bunch of turnovers to go with his tackles, and that put him into 4th spot for the midfield. Aki was a guy that I wasn't that interested in. I just wanted to see him play, and he is a bit of a unit. Had one good run. Same with Lamb, but these Blues midfielders, like, not a great place to be a back. And Suali'i, all the way down here, only 23 points. Pritchard and Vodra, they did well this week. I don't think there's too much to take out of that, to be honest. We'll see if the Brumbies are strong this year. This Pritchard guy, he might be a guy to keep an eye out for, but I need to see a bit more than that. Going back to the outside backs though, to see who really delivered this week. Will Jordan was in 2nd place on 61 points, which is pretty tremendous for a guy who was on the bench. I just want to give a quick shout out to the guy in the comments of the Best Picks video who said that whenever he doesn't pick the big guns because they're on the bench, they end up coming off the bench and carving up late and getting a good score. And I kind of replied to him and said, that's just, that type of pick is usually just way too risky to make. And I specifically used Will Jordan as an example when I tried to explain that point. And of course, Will Jordan came out in that game and just completely proved me wrong. Although I think the logic is generally correct with that. I think you do still want to steer away from benched players, even if they're good, even if they're guns. But but sometimes it's worth, considering. And I think there probably would have been a lot of people who did pick Will Jordan, even though he was benched, and that's obviously paid off this time. But as the season goes on, I'll keep track of this. Like I think we'll see that it usually doesn't work out this well. But the other outside backs that did well this week, Ratuvaitamuki Nikins and Jonah Nareki, getting very good scores for a game that was, a bit of an arm wrestle. Neepkins, he didn't score a try at all, but still getting 52 points. That's pretty good. And this is kind of what we saw out of these Highlanders backs last year as well. Even when the Highlanders weren't scoring a lot of points, these guys are still getting scores up like 40 plus, around 50, which is extremely impressive when you're not getting a lot of tries. So yeah, they're kind of in a weird spot, right? Like I really want to pick these guys, Tangatau as well, when the Highlanders are in a good matchup, and hopefully they're stronger this year, because I really want to pick these guys up. But yeah, as you can see, they kind of end up in this spot. Like they're never the top guys, but they're sort of just below that top tier. Tavita Off is interesting. He's one guy I did point out in my best picks video. I really like this guy. He was quite good last year. He didn't get that much game time, but when he did, he was quite impressive. And yeah, he got one try this game, but otherwise looked quite dangerous as well. We'll see how strong Moana Pacifica are this year. I don't expect to be picking him up that much, even if Pacifica, are kind of strong, just because, like I said earlier, Pacifica, they do still tend to utilize their forwards a lot and do most of their scoring through their forwards and through that back row. Not much else interesting for the rest of the outside backs. Zan Sullivan's an interesting prospect. He did end up taking over the goal kicking in that Blues game, which does kind of increase his stocks a bit. Also got a try. He's an interesting player. He gets involved, and he can overplay his hand a bit, but we kind of like that for fantasy as well. But yeah, he's a sort of player I think who would be a good fantasy player. But yeah, it's just tough being at the Blues and in an attack that doesn't really fire. Mata Ili was another player that I mentioned in my best picks video. Like I said, I like him, but he's very late into his career now. He is quite old. I was interested to see how he goes, and yeah, didn't really get a lot going for him in that game, but wasn't a lot on offer for the Drua in the grand scheme of things. They did actually struggle in that game. Taking a quick look at the 10s, not a lot happened there. Meredith coming out on top, got those 2 tries, but didn't really have a lot else going for him. Kimi Valentini was second cab of the rank, which was kind of interesting to me. He wasn't really on my radar at all. And considering that the Drua weren't really able to get a lot cooking in that game, that's a pretty good score to come away with. Pellegrini was a guy that kind of surprised me. I thought he would go pretty well when the game was going pretty well for Moana as well. But yeah, only ended up getting 27 points. Did miss a couple of shots at goal, which is kind of unusual. He was a real gun last year, kicking his goals. Perifetta was also a bit underwhelming as well. I mean, I'm not totally surprised by this, just because, like I said, it's the Blues, right? And the way he plays is good for a fantasy 10. He does like to take the line on. He does like to go into contact, but yeah, it's just something you're not going to get away with the way the Blues play. And he missed a couple of shots at goal, then had the goal kicking taken off him. So yeah, his value really drops down, I think, unless the Blues are coming up against quite weak opposition, which we don't know who they are yet. Wasn't a lot going on at halfback. This is what halfback normally looks like. Hotham got a massive score, which that's a bit of an aberration to be honest, but all these other halfbacks are all down around like, 30's the best of them. And that's usually what you expect here. Fakatava only getting 18. Lamani coming off the bench and still getting 23. Yeah, it's just really not worth investing a lot in halfback unless it's Cam Roigard. This is a good place to save yourself money if you need to. Now the loose forwards, it's always an interesting spot. The loose forwards really bailed my round out after sort of investing so heavily in the Crusaders and bombing there. Yeah, I got the top 2 back rowers. Charlie Cale getting 2 tries, but look at the rest of these stats, man. Like 22 tackles, 5 tackle busts, 2 line breaks, offload line break assists, like try assist. I mean, he had a massive game, and I pointed this out in the best picks video. I'm a big fan of Charlie Cale when he's on the ball. Like, I was gonna say he's not so great on the other side of the ball. He wasn't last year, but I mean, he made 22 tackles this game, so I mean, it's kind of doesn't hold up for this game. But yeah, he's an attacking beast, man. I think he actually got a line out steal as well. He jumped up and stole a line out. So this guy's a freak. Like he's really tall, but he's not like an overly bulky frame, so he can really move as well. And yeah, that just makes him a real weapon, ball in hand. He's very active. He's got a high work rate. He gets involved, and yeah, as you can see, like it really paid off this game. 100 points. That's a huge haul for a back rower, and kind of steals some of the shine from Miracle Failangi, who got 3 tries but only got 69 points, which, huge haul. But yeah, I mean, Kel, he got 30 plus more points and while having 1 less try. But yeah, I'm still a big fan of Miracle Failangi. Talked about him in the best pick video as well. Like kind of similar to Cal, like he's just an attacking, he's an attacking weapon, and he's got good pace as well. So yeah, he can, if he's in the open, he can sort of get those line breaks, he can finish, and in the tight, when Moana are on your line, he can just, get that in tight try, push over the line as well with his power. And we saw both types of try from him today, and he's got to stay on your radar going into the future, but a lot sort of depends on the matchup as well. Like, if Moana run into the Blues or something, like a team with that good sort of forwards defense, it's not gonna be an easy game for them, and it's not gonna be easy for guys like Miracle. But yeah, he's always a guy you got to keep on that radar. Gamble was a little bit of a surprise for me. Always been like a good solid player. In fantasy, he's kind of always been a guy that's sort of just below the good guys, so you don't really pick him that often, even though he's pretty good. But a couple of try assists in this game really brought home a good score for him. We'll see if he sort of keeps it up going forward. He'll be firmly on my radar, but I do want to see a couple more good performances out of him before I upgrade him to that status. Fraser McWright, we already knew he was good. 47 points, pretty good haul. I said in the best picks video that fetchers, they tend not to be as good as the ball carrying back rowers in fantasy. McWright's always been a bit of an exception. He's always been up there with them, but one thing that's interesting about this score, 47 points in a game where the Reds were really struggling. They only got 12 points in the game, but these fetchers can actually do really well in matchups where their team isn't getting a lot of ball, because obviously they specialize in getting stuff done off the ball, right? And yeah, a lot of tackles, couple of turnovers forced. That's a good base to your score. and you add in, line break, offload, try assist. These are things that Fraser McReight can do because he's a good player, and that sort of puts him up into this territory where he's a guy that's worth the money. Joe Bryle, on the other hand, this guy, he got 46 points at one try, but he was actually instrumental in both of their tries. The first try the Reds scored, I think it was from a turnover. He actually kicked the ball from halfway. He kicked it to the corner, and one of the Reds was able to chase it down and score. This guy's a number 6, by the way. And their second try, he actually stripped it off someone. That's probably what this intercept is. He stripped it off someone in contact and sort of spread it. And the Reds went on a break, and then Bryle, he sort of stayed in support and ended up getting the finish as the ball was passed back to him to dot down over the line. So this guy's always been kind of interesting. He's got a lot of pace for a back rower, and a lot of sort of back skills. He's got good sort of passing skills and can kick a ball. That's not the first time I've seen him kick the ball. I'm pretty sure he did a similar thing against the Chiefs last year in the wet. He kicked the ball to the corner and chased it down himself and outran one of the backs, might have been Nadawa or something. This guy's a player that never gets talked about, but he's got some skills for sure. Dalton, 40 points. He did get a try. Without that try, that's really padding out his score. Same with Tupou Taialoa, 40 points. Did get one try in there to sort of pad things out for him. This is a player that I like because he does a lot of work, gets a lot of carries, but he's not, even though he gets through a lot of work, he's not necessarily, busting through and getting line breaks and offloads and all that sort of thing. Ekuasi, though, this is a guy that definitely deserves talking about. I mentioned him in the best picks video because he was very cheap at 3.5 million. And he's about the only guy down in that 3.5 million zone that I wanted to talk about. And if you watch this game, he was quite a devastating runner. And he always has been. He was last year as well, but he didn't get a lot of game time last year. But this year, I feel like he's probably gonna be a main starter in that loose forward trio. And he's a devastating runner, man. There's no tackle bust here, which kind of surprised me. I'm sure he busted through a couple. He did get a try, which has padded out his score here. But if you're ever looking for an ultra cheap guy, Ekuasi, pretty good option. Slower, he was on the end of a pretty good try as well. But Drua not looking very good. And then Blackadder, we're kind of down to 30 points now. So, this is kind of below the point where we want our back rowers to be scoring usually. And, Blackadder, never been a fan of this pick. He gets through a lot of work, but he sort of, he never offloads. He never passes the ball. So there's never an offload or an assist of any sort or a line break. He just runs into a brick wall. Tizano, though, this was the most expensive guy in the back row, the big name. And last year, he was Mr. Consistent. He was consistently getting a solid to good score. And like I said, though, that was down to him getting a lot of the maul tries that the Force would score. And I wasn't sure that was going to come against the Brumbies, right? Because they're a strong forward pack, a good mauling team, it didn't happen for the Force this game. So he did get a try though, but probably not a great score for Tizano. And Pete Samu, this was another player I sort of talked about, as in I was keeping my eye on him. I've always liked Pete Samu, but I've never seen him play when he went overseas. I wasn't sure what he was going to be like coming back, and yeah, really just was not a factor in that Waratahs Reds game. Same with Whanakai Vata as well. Like, I like this guy, but it was a tough game for the drawer. And yeah, he really didn't get much going. So Leo Willie, another big name. Yeah, really didn't get much going. And I think he didn't get subbed until like the 55th minute. So yeah, 12 points, really low score for him. But the Crusaders, I mean, they were just coughing up so much ball, man. Like that is why they lost. Yeah, they did not have a lot of ball to play with. Lucas Casey, this is a guy that was sort of getting talked about a lot because of his NPC season. Yeah, I'm always kind of cagey on picking these guys up. And yeah, he didn't really deliver. And Hoskins Tutu, quite a popular pick at 25% of people, but yeah, he was a non-factor in that game, really. And like I was talking about him in the best picks video, like how is he going to go now that he's sort of going up north? Is he going to be that invested in it? And how are the Blues going to go? Like they were pretty poor last year, and yeah, I was basically saying I'd wait and see what his form is like. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be a good Hoskins year, to be honest. But taking a look at the hookers now, it's kind of disappointed with Billy Pollard, because obviously Brumbies, they really took over that game. They did start to dominate up front, but yeah, no more try coming forthwith, unfortunately. And yeah, only 20 points is pretty disappointing for a hooker. Talkiaho, he came out on top, 48 points, got his pretty impressive try. Couple of line out areas, but yeah, good amount of tackles and successful lineouts making up for it. So yeah, when you get above 40, that's kind of what you expect out of a hooker. And yeah, Talkiaho, very popular pick, 40% of people got him. And even though the Blues Chiefs game was always going to be tough, like I said, forwards can still do well in those arm wrestle matchups, because there's a lot of work for them to do. There's a lot of set piece, and you know, a lot of sort of grind on the line as well, which is where guys like Talkiaho, they're often the ones to get that extra inch and get over the try line like he did today. Was not expecting these guys to be the next cabs off the rank, but seems like most teams don't actually have their top hookers starting at the start of the season. But I don't know if any of these guys have sort of cemented themselves on the radar. I mean, 47 is pretty good when you haven't got any sort of try at all. We can see a couple of turnovers. Oh, they did actually get a lot of scrums, actually, the Highlanders front row, just because of all those Crusaders knock-ons. I wouldn't take that as something you'll get for granted every game. But yeah, Dobbins, not a guy that I rate, but he did pretty good. Didn't get a try. Millennium Sinarevi, 40 points. Bradley Slater, wasn't sure how Slater would go, to be honest, but yeah, no missed line-out throw, which did actually impress me. So I might keep him in mind going forward. Because yeah, just being able to get a hooker who's reliable in lineouts, and you know, then just hoping that they get a more try or something. Yeah, that's kind of all you need to look for with a hooker. And the props, I said in best picks video, like with props and locks, you know, usually the difference between the best one and the cheap one is like 10 points maximum. And yeah, you can kind of see that here, right? Like the top props are about 30 points, but you know, all the other guys, they're like, you know, down at 20 or whatever. And yeah, I mean, there's guys that cost 2.5 million, so you can definitely save a couple of mil by cheaping out in this position. It sort of doesn't make that much of a difference. If we look at lock though, Even though that's mostly true, we do have a big exception here with Tupo Vai, who got his try, but otherwise just had a pretty big game. Line out steal, turnover. Yeah, Tupo Vai. I mean, we all knew that he's one of the best locks, if not the best lock, just in general, but in fantasy as well. He is the most expensive, but it's 5.6 million, so not a lot at the end of the day. But I wouldn't take him getting 50 points a week. That's not really a thing. You take the try out of it, he's down to 35, and I don't think Alan Craig actually got a try, so pretty good haul from him, although he did get a try assist. But yeah, again, with locks, like this is another spot where you can cheap out. Amateur only 2.8 million. Had a pretty good game. Anyway, guys, I think that'll do it from me. Quite a fun first round of games, although nothing dramatic really happening in fantasy. I don't think there's too many hard conclusions we can take away from this round. I don't think much has really shifted in terms of players coming onto the radar or dropping off of it. So yeah, we've got to see another couple of rounds, I think, before trends will really set in. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, if there was any players that you noticed that you're going to be keeping an eye on. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you do want to keep seeing these videos pop up on your feeds where I talk about nothing but fantasy. Otherwise, I hope you have a good rest of the week, and I'll catch you in the next one.